Welcome to Chapter 3 about parallel and perpendicular lines. This is Section 3.1, Identify pairs of lines and angles. One objective for today, to identify angle pairs formed by three intersecting lines. So let's start out with some vocab. First vocab or definition, parallel lines. These are lines in the same plane that do not intersect or cross, however you want to say that. So in order for me to draw that, A being parallel to B, those two lines, you would have lines look like they're going to cross, and to note parallel, you do a little arrow on them. So those are parallel lines. Skewed lines are lines in a different plane that do not cross or intersect. It's kind of hard to show, so I will definitely show on the diagram below. Parallel planes, these are planes that do not cross or intersect. And then perpendicular lines are lines in the same plane that do intersect to form a right angle. So to show perpendicular lines, you could have a line here, and the perpendicular is with a right angle, so you put a little box and that shows a 90-degree angle. Okay, so those are our vocab. We can kind of show them down here. So an example of these vocab. First one, pair of parallel lines. Parallel lines are on the same plane and do not cross. So if I look at AB, that line, it would be parallel to CD because it's on the same plane and it does not intersect. So, pair of parallel lines, AB, make sure you have your lines and your arrows, parallel to line segment CD. And again, those have those arrows. Now, a pair of skewed lines, again, definition, lines in a different plane that do not cross. So if I look at AB again, that'll be kind of my reference line. AB is on a different plane and will not intersect line EH. So I'm going to write AB, and you just kind of put a comma to show skewed. So line AB is skewed to line EH. Different plane and do not cross. Next is a pair of parallel planes. Well, I can look at this top of the box, the top plane, which is ABCD, and the bottom of the box, plane EFGH, and those are parallel. They will not cross. So I'm going to write plane ABC, my parallel to plane EFG. Last thing is my perpendicular lines. So perpendicular lines are on the same plane and they intersect to form a 90-degree angle. So if I look at CD, CD is perpendicular to line DG. They'll form that 90-degree angle in that corner. So CD with my arrows, perpendicular is an upside down T to line DG. Okay, so I'm actually going to head back up here and write that down quickly to show A perpendicular to B. That's the notation that you would use. Okay, so that's our first definitions and planes with that. Let's go on to transversals. So, a transversal, and then there's four types of angles that go with. A transversal, vocab for you, is a line. I want to write a line that intersects two or more lines. So I have a look at the diagram on the right. This right here would be my transversal because it crosses those two lines. Now, 4 types of angles we have. Very important that we understand these 4 and know how to use these 4 types of angles. First one, corresponding angles. These ones are in the same spot. I'll show you what I mean with that. I'll give you a couple examples. So, same spot. If I look at A is above the line to the left of the transversal. The other point that's above the line to the left of the transversal would be E. So I can write AE would be an example of corresponding angles. I also could look at D and H. D is to the right of the transversal below the line, and H is to the right of the transversal and below the line. Same position. Next type of angle, I'm even gonna draw a line because these are super important. Next one is alternate interior angles. Okay. These are inside the two lines and on different sides of transversal. Let's go through a couple examples of these. So, inside the two lines, that would mean I have to look at C, E, and D and F. Those are the only ones that are inside the two lines. Erase these so we can get focused. So, looking at those are my only options. But now they have to be on different sides of the transversal. So if I'm looking at C, the only other option that's inside and on the different side of the transversal would be F. So my example would be CF. It also could be ED because they are both inside on the opposite side of the transversal. Okay, so that's our next set. Third type of angle is alternate exterior. These ones are now outside the two lines and still on different side of transversal. Okay, let's look at these. So, outside ones. My options for outside are going to be AB and GH. They're outside of the two lines. Now they have to be on different sides of the transversal. So if I look at A, the other outside on opposite side would be H. So AH is an option, which leaves then GB as the other option. Both outside, opposite sides of the transversal. Last one, consecutive interior angles. Last type. These are inside the two lines. Now they're on the same side of the transversal. Okay, let's look at those. So the inside angles. The only options we have for inside angles are C, E, D, and F. Those are only ones inside. Now they have to be on the same side of the transversal. So if I look at C, the other option that's on the same side of the transversal would be E. So my option is CE, or you could have DF. Options there for the consecutive interior. Now these are super important that we practice, that we understand, because they are 4 different types of angles and they all will be used in this chapter. So let's do a little practice on it. I'll set you up with example 2 and then I'll have you finish it off. So I want you to identify all pairs of angles of the given type. So Corresponding angles, remember my definition, are angles in the same position. So angle 1 is in the same position as angle 5. They're both above the transversal to the left. So I would write angle 1 and angle 5. Those are corresponding. I'll get you started. There should be 4 corresponding, 2 alternate interior, 2 alternate exterior, and 2 consecutive interior. Please pause the video and try these out. Okay, hopefully you had enough time. The corresponding pairs are 1 and 5. There's also 2 and 6, angles 3 and 7, and angles 4 and 8. Those are all in the same position. Alternate interior would be angles 2 and 7 and 4 and 5. Alternate interior, they're in the inside of the line and they're on the different side of the transversal. Alternate exterior, you should have 6 and 3 and then 1 and 8. Consecutive interior, angles 4 and 7 and angles 2 and 5, both being inside on the same side of the transversal. Okay, if you didn't get those right, hopefully you can see your mistake and we can move forward from there. Next, for example 3 is classifying the pair of numbered angles. So if I look at this, angle 1 and angle 5, they are both above and to the left of the transversals. So I can see that they're in the same spot. Well, what angles are the same spot? Well, that's corresponding angles. Please try the next 2. Hopefully you had enough time. The one on the right, angles 2 and 7, are both outside on opposite sides of the transversal. So I'm going to write outside. This is for me. Different sides. So that means they're alternate exterior angles. I like to abbreviate a lot, so make sure you understand what alternate exterior angles are. Next one, 5 and 4, those angles are both inside and on different sides of the transversal. So the only option that's inside and different sides is alternate interior angles. Hopefully you saw your mistakes and you can correct those and we can move on. Last part is, did we accomplish the objective? So I would like you to look at this box and tell me a pair of parallel lines, skewed lines, perpendicular lines, and parallel planes. In addition to that example, please try this extra example, just the first one. I want to see what you can do with classifying these angle pairs. We will talk about both of these in class tomorrow. Please bring any questions or clarifications for these 4 very important types of angles. Have a great time doing the work.